slow death. But even today, the church continues to be involved with folk music. While our children really know nothing about folk music, if you mention people like Chad Mitchell and other great folk heroes, Bob Dylan, for instance, our kids don't even know who they are, let alone can relate to the kind of musical style that they're doing. But it seems like the church has, again, just discovered this new trend in worship, and they call it folk worship.
Where do you think the church is headed musically? I mean, do you see this kind of trend continuing? That we're always going to be behind X number of years?
I hope it doesn't mean that in 20 years we are going to see hard rock and roll in worship services, because I think there are some lines of what is usable in a worship setting. I think, though, that the church needs to look at variety and diversity as the direction of the future, so that we are meeting the needs of all of the people instead of just a small percentage of people's musical tastes. As long as the church remains diverse in the musical styles it puts in front of people, then I think they're headed the right direction in terms of communicating well. And after all, that is the goal, to communicate clear, concise messages of what the gospel is all about.
Now, you've been involved, Andy, in writing songs for worship over the past few years. How have people responded to that at Prince of Peace?
My goal in writing worship hymns is to write a short, concise song that's easy to sing and that has a memorable lyric attached to it that has something to do with everyday life. And I have had people at our church come to me and say that those little vignettes, if you will, mean a great deal when we sing about that kind of love, that he follows me when I run away. He lifts me up when I fall. Those are real-life experiences for people, and it's those kinds of things that we need to sing about and apply Christ's love for us to everyday life.
You're currently working on a contemporary worship hymnal. Where do you hope that goes, and how do you hope that affects people that use it?
I hope it goes to millions of people, that they all buy the hymnal.
At least millions, huh?
Many millions. My hope is that it goes to the church at large, to people who are interested in, again, communicating clearly in new ways and forms the message of Christ. The hymnal will include not only our hymns, but also some of the great hymns of the church, as well as some of the new hymns of other people, in addition to some liturgies that we have been using for years here at Prince of Peace, original, new ways to say the same old story.
One of the responsibilities of a church is to respond to the needs of the people there. One of the needs of Prince of Peace has become for people who are going through a job change.
Job Transition Support Group meets weekly at Prince of Peace and deals with many issues that a person going through a job change encounters. Here's the story of that particular group.
Several years ago, Job Transition Support Group was started here at Prince of Peace. This evening, we are with Sue Amundsen. Sue, what is Job Transition Support?
It's a group that was designed to meet the needs of people who are in transition, whether they're looking at a career change, perhaps they've been unemployed for several years and are wanting to get back into the job market, or have recently been laid off and are seeking employment.
Who are some of the speakers that come to Job Transition?
We operate in a seminar series dealing with all of the different skills that are needed in searching for a job. So we have self-assessment. We start out with that. We deal with interviewing skills, negotiating compensation, maintaining a positive mental attitude, setting goals, etc. The individuals that present, many of them are volunteers who are members of Prince of Peace or are in the community and have agreed to give some of their time and talents in support of the people in transition.
Does the group itself cost anything to the participant?
No, it's free and anyone is welcome to attend.
How was the role model for this group started? Where did it come from?
It came out of a group that was started at Colonial Church of Edina several years ago, and it was modeled after that. Two individuals who are members of Prince of Peace saw a need in this part of the community and started it, modeling it after Colonial Church.
When does the next series of job transition support group seminars begin?
We started a new series last week, and tonight is the second in that series, and it continues on for about 10 weeks. However, people can come into the group at any time. They don't have to start at the beginning.
In 1983, I became unemployed, and I saw an ad in the paper about job transition and thought it was a place for me to go to give me help in trying to seek a new position.
And when I first was out of work, I felt I was going to find a job pretty fast. But as time wore on, everything that I was doing didn't seem to pan out, and I thought, well, by golly, I've got to make some changes, and I'm open for anything.
I've learned about myself and given me the ability to find a job without necessarily depending upon the newspapers, using networking and other various techniques that they taught.
It's been a long haul, but I think one of the things that happened when I started coming to the job support group here is that I had been out of the work the longest. And other people were seeing that, well, it might be a long time, and everybody is in the same boat.
Your family can only give you so much support. You need support of other people as well.
I didn't realize, exactly what he was going through. Maybe I was too close to the situation.
I wish now that when I'd first gotten out of work that I had started the job support group sooner, right away. There would have been probably a lot of errors that I made that wouldn't have been made had I done that.
It's a big help to the person in the job transition. It's a big help to the spouse. Both of you have to take on added different duties than you've had before. It's just big changes in your lives, and it just helps you live through those changes.
Tell me about the cookies that are sitting in front of us today.
Well, I finally got my job. Started yesterday.
This is Diane Hood with Spirit.
The Community Action Council.
Teenager part of it. What we did is we put together a teenage nightclub, thinking something putting together things that they enjoy. Top music, as you hear on radio stations right around here. We have disc jockeys that come out, provide the entertainment for us. We have lots of giveaways. We're a true nightclub for teenagers.
Tell me where the name Widgets came from. Did you have a hand in that?
It's real interesting how that came up. Is our controller vice president was listing names, what we could call a teenage nightclub per se, and we came up with, we wanted something that was unique and something that could be remembered. And we went through Gizmo and Soft Rock Cafe after Hard Rock Cafe in New York, and we went through a dozen other names. And our favorite was Widgets because it means, the actual definition is anything you think it is. And so Widgets is a teenage nightclub.
I've heard some not so positive things about what you're doing here. Tell me a little bit about that from your perspective. Have there been some problems associated with you being here?
Whenever you put together a teenage atmosphere, we are collecting a numerous number of teenagers in one place. Whenever you deal with a lot of teenagers at one time, you're going to have problems, okay? 95% of the kids that we have in here are good kids. They're here to have an alcohol, chemical-free good time. And that's what parents appreciate, too. That's what we really want to appeal to. And we do a very good job there. We have over a dozen trained security people. Some of them are real big.
I've noticed that.
And some of them are scary. I mean, they do their job well, and they all are trained, too, which helps out. But you're going to have 5% that are bad. You're going to have 5% no matter what event you have. Church events, you have 5% that are bad. That 5% really make a difference. Those 5% that are bad are going to rise up there. They're going to show a bad effect. Now, we have had problem with alcohol in the parking lots. To this day, we have not had that many incidences inside. If we have, they're very isolated. How we handle all incidences inside, if we catch someone intoxicated under the use of a drug, our security people push them into a holding room that we have. They're given two alternatives at that time. They can either be released to their parents when we get their name and address and phone number, or they can be released to the police. Now, to this day, we have not had to release that many to the police. They haven't made that choice, number one, and we haven't had to make that choice. So we're so well. We have had numerous arrests in our parking lot. A lot of kids were coming, drinking in our parking lot, never intending to come in. And what we have done since we found out about the problem is we have hired the Burnsville police to come on in. Not actually hired them, we've actually assisted them in helping us. And what they have been doing is they've made numerous arrests and they took them about a month to clear up shop. But we have probably the tightest running show now that we ever have had, and the kids are enjoying it. We're having kids come from everywhere to enjoy it. This is definitely a hot spot, and we're going to make that for teenagers by providing them with local, chemical-free, alcohol-free information and a nightclub.
How do your folks feel about you hanging out here?
They think that it's better than going to parties and stuff. And they like it. They don't really mind me coming here that often.
You feel like this is coming to a party? Is that why you come?
Well, it's like coming to a party.
It's a good place.
It's a great place to open up, and it's great. I like it.
So that's the goal.
That's the ultimate goal, is to give these guys a good time, no chemicals and no drugs.
Yeah, so it's like coming to a party. Hey, Steve, what are you doing?
Well, I'm just doing my part, reading the sign that says, please keep rocks, okay? So I'm doing my part.
I think that you failed to see something here.
What's that? Oh, I really gotta hand it to you, Julie. Yeah, that's the whole message. Okay, please keep off rocks. Okay, rocks are off. All right, good.
Okay. Well, you know, I think we've disobeyed this sign long enough, but we better obey the one we're getting here from our director. You know, this one?
The one
I
that
think
says,
the show's over? Yeah, that's it. If you have any comments or questions about our show, please feel free to call us at the church. Our number there is 435-8102.
Can I go call now?
Yeah, you can
Okay.
go call now.
Good. Bye.
All right, have a nice evening. Have a nice evening.